Good morning. My name is Tom Borkowski. I'm Director of Personal Trust at Amboy Bank. And with me today is Annalee Kolsar, Branch Operations Manager.
Good morning.
Annalee and I are coming to you today from our offices at the Administration Building in Old Bridge, and we're going to present our Senior Tax Freeze Seminar. Annalee and I have been doing this together for about 10 years or so, and we normally go to the branches and make a presentation, and our clients go there. But because of our situation with COVID and the coronavirus, we're trying this out new. We're going to be doing this seminar or webinar over the Zoom. So we can't see you. Hopefully you can see us. There's approximately 90 to 100 people signed up for this seminar. So if you're having technical difficulties, we're not going to be able to help you specifically. You can call in, but just know that the presentation will be on our website. It's being taped, and in a day or so, the presentation will be on our website for you to look at. We're going to go over the I'll go over the agenda in a minute, but during the course of our presentation, if you'd like to ask a question, you can chat in. There's a button there. I think you can chat in and type in your question, and at the end, we'll be answering questions. So when you do that, though, please be sure not to put any personal information like your name or anything specific about yourself. Just remember this webinar is going out to many people, and it's also going to be on our website. So just ask a general question. We have a number of facts and questions that have already been sent in, but again, be sure not to enter any personal information into the chat room. Okay, so let me just start by going over today's agenda. We're going to Annalee's going to start with the program overview and the qualifications for the Senior Tax Freeze program. I will then go over the actual application itself. We'll have the actual form up on the screen that you'll be able to see. And we'll talk about how you would prove the amount of taxes you paid. And then Annalee will also go over the next steps, and we'll tell you how to file the return, tell you what to include. And then at the end, we'll actually have we'll have a question and answer period with a number of questions. So we've been doing this for a long time, and I'll turn it over to Annalee. Good morning, Annalee.
Good morning.
And
okay,
all yours.
So we're going to do a brief overview of the program. The Property Tax Reimbursement Program reimburses eligible New Jersey homeowners, mobile homeowners, and disabled persons for property tax increases. So you will still need to pay your taxes in a timely manner, but once a year, you'll apply to the state of New Jersey for a reimbursement of any increases from the year you first became eligible. There are income limitations and residency requirements. When you first become eligible, you'll be qualifying for 2 prior tax years. There needs to be 2 full tax years to determine if a refund is warranted. It's important that you apply the first year you become eligible. This first year will become your base tax year for determining future reimbursements. A new applicant will complete a PTR1 application, which is available on the State of New Jersey website, or we can also provide that application for you. Once you're enrolled in the program, the State of New Jersey will now annually mail you out a PTR2 application, which will be pre-filled with your personal information and the base tax year that you have already established. So that's just, a brief overview of the program. And now we'll go over what some of the qualifications are. So you need to be 65 years or older as of December 31st, 2018, or actually receiving federal Social Security disability benefits on or before December 31st of 2018. You must have lived in New Jersey continuously since December 31st of 2008 or earlier, either as a homeowner or a renter. So renters wouldn't be able to file for a reimbursement. You have to be a homeowner, but you do need to be paying taxes to the state of New Jersey, real estate taxes, for at least 10 years from the first year you become eligible. Okay, so these homeowners that are going to apply, you have to have lived in New Jersey continuously since December 31st of 2015 or earlier. and still live in the home that you own on December 31st of 2019. And also you have to, your property taxes, so for 2018, you have to pay your taxes in a timely manner. So for 2018, your property taxes have to be paid by June 1st of 2019. And for the year 2019, property taxes have to be paid by June 1st of 2020. So your taxes cannot be in arrears. You have to pay your taxes in a timely manner. And there's also an income limitation. So for your income for 2019, the income limitation is $89,013 or less. And for 2019, it's $91,505 or less. So that's the qualifications. And now Tom's going to take some time to go over the application.
Okay, the application is a 4-page form that I'll be reading off of, but you'll be able to see on the screen. We've divided each page up into two slides. So what you're looking at right now is the top half of the PTR1 form, which is the form you will fill out to initially qualify for the program. So it's a tax return just like a New Jersey tax return, income tax return, or a federal income tax return. Start by filling out your information, name and address at the top, and you're going to enter your social security number as well as your spouse's social security number. The county municipality code is the same thing that you have on the New Jersey tax return. If you don't file a tax return, the codes are in the booklet for each municipality. In each county, there's a 4-digit code, so you fill that in. This is a 4-page application. You must complete all 4 pages and just fill in the ovals with either blue or black ink. So proof of age or disability for 2018 and 2019 must be submitted with the application. So to prove that you're 65 years or older, you have to bring a copy of one of the following, either a birth certificate, driver's license, or your church records. So for most people, the easiest thing to do would be just to make a copy of your driver's license. And if you're not 65 or older and you're receiving Social Security disability benefits, then you're going to have to provide a copy of the Social Security award letter. The marital and civil union status, you just check the box of whether you were married on December 31st, 2018, single or married. And for 2019, were you single or married? New Jersey recognizes civil unions, so you check that box for in the married column. So now we're going to go on to question 3A. And this is the age or disability status. There's 4 questions, but they're very similar. So on December 31st, 2018, were you age 65 or older? You check the box for yourself, yes or no, and for your spouse, yes or no. And by the way, this application really goes through in detail, and it's a straightforward application. It's going to repeat the exact same information that Ann Lee just gave you about qualifying for the program. So I'm just repeating what Ann Lee has already said earlier. Question 3B, if you're not age 65 or older, were you receiving on December 31st, 2018, Social Security disability benefits? For most people, that's going to be no, but if that's the case for you, you'll answer yes. And then the same 2 questions apply for 2019. Were you age 65 or older? Yes or no, for you and your spouse. And 4B, were you receiving Social Security disability benefits? So the applicant must meet, or the applicants must meet the age of disability requirements for both 2018 and 2019. If neither you nor your spouse met the requirements for both years, then you're not eligible for the reimbursement, and you should not file the application. For residency, again, as Annalie said, basically you have to be a resident in New Jersey. The question is, have you lived in New Jersey continuously since December 31st, 2008, as either a homeowner or a renter? Yes or no? Answer the question. And question 6, have you owned and lived in the same New Jersey home since December 31st, 2015? So have you owned and lived in the same home? You have to have owned the residence that you're living in for the last 3 years. Yes or no? If the answer to either one of those questions is no, the directions are clear. Stop. You are not eligible for reimbursement, and you should not file the application. So that's page one. I'll move on now to page two, which is the income limitation, or the application where you fill in your income. At the top, enter in your name and social security number on the form. There are instructions in the booklet that go over each line item here, but this is essentially the information right off your federal and New Jersey income. So it's good to have your tax returns handy, as well as the original source documents, your W-2s, or your statement from Social Security, or any pension statements that you have. So I can just say this, that New Jersey, for purposes of this eligibility of the senior tax freeze, in order to be eligible for the program, they include everything that's taxable for federal, everything that's taxable for New Jersey, plus some things that aren't taxable. So basically, all income from whatever source is derived are going to be included on this form. That's a general statement, a general rule. But actually, so we'll go through it. Line A, enter in your Social Security benefits, including Medicare Part B, so it's your gross benefit. And as you know, sometimes that's not taxable for federal. Doesn't matter, you're going to enter the total amount that you receive for Social Security. In item B, the total amount of pension and retirement benefits, including IRA and annuity income, whether it was taxable or not, the total amount you received. In C, salaries and wages, bonuses, should be right from your W-2 form, the gross amount you received. Unemployment benefits, D, whether they're taxable or not, you're going to include any unemployment benefits you received from the state of New Jersey. Disability benefits, whether public or private, whether taxable or non-taxable, those are all included. If you're receiving Social Security disability income, that's going to be included. Interest, taxable and exempt. So for New Jersey purposes, if you're a New Jersey resident and you have New Jersey turnpike bonds or New Jersey municipal obligations that are tax-free for federal and New Jersey, you're going to have to include those amounts in this form. So it might be exempt for federal New Jersey, but here you have to add that back in. Dividends, gross amount you received, capital gains, gross amount, net rental income, gross amount. You can't, if you have a loss of net rental income, you can just put a zero. You can't use a negative net rental income to offset other items of income. So one category, a loss in one category cannot offset income in another category. And then we'll just continue on. Net profits from business, net distributive share of partnership income, net prorated share of S corporation income. Those should be just coming off of forms in your tax return. Item M is support payments. That would be alimony, but do not include child support. So child support payments are not includable as income here. And then here, line N is something that is, normally not taxable, but New Jersey is including it. So inheritances, not federal income tax, not taxable for federal income purposes. Bequests, death benefits, not taxable, but for New Jersey purposes, you're going to include all these amounts in this calculation. Royalties, gambling, and lottery winnings, including the New Jersey lottery. So all those scratch-off tickets you have to include. And then line Q is all other income. And this is interesting, and I can just say, as being a lifelong resident, I found this very interesting of New Jersey. There's instructions for every line item, and the instructions for this line item are: enter the total amount of any other income you received for which a place has not been provided elsewhere on the application. Income from sources both legal and illegal must be included. Found that amusing. I found that amusing. So anyway, okay, so enter the total income added up, and for 2018, was your total income $89,013 or less? If the answer is yes, well, now you've met for 2018, you can go on to the next page. If the answer is no, stop. You're not eligible, do not complete or file the form. So page 3, we'll move on to page 3. And page 3 is really the same as page 4, as page 2. You're just gonna, it's the exact same items of income. Everything I just said about page 2, about your 2018 income applies to 2019. You add up the total amount, fill it out, and was the 2019 income on line 8 $91,505 or less? If yes, then you can go on to page 4. If no, stop. You're not eligible for reimbursement and you should not file this application. So as Annalise said earlier, you must meet the income requirements for both 2018 and 2019. Now we're going to go on to page 4, which is the starts with the principal residence at the top. Again, for each page, put your name and your social security number at the top. And then here you're going to be providing information about your residence to New Jersey, status, whether you're a homeowner or a mobile homeowner. So mobile homeowners also qualify for the senior tax freeze program. For homeowners, enter the block, lot, and qualifier. That should be right off your tax form. Some people ask what a qualifier is. It's actually whether you're in maybe in a condominium or a planned unit development. But most people just have a block and lot. And then you answer questions 11A through 12B. Did you share ownership of this property with anyone other than your spouse? And there's instructions for mobile homeowners, yes or no. And if you did, what's the percentage? So even if you shared ownership, your property consisted of multiple units, then you still have an option to get the senior tax freeze. Not to go into detail because this is, most people are just going to own the home by themselves, but there is an opportunity to get the credit if you have, if you own the property with someone else other than your spouse, or it has multiple units. Answer the questions before you complete lines 13 and 14. So now we move on to line 13 and 14, which is proving the property taxes, right, that you're going to submit with the application. So in line 13, you're going to enter the total of 2019 property taxes due and paid. As Annalise said, they must be paid on time. And then there's a calculation there for mobile homeowners. You can enter the amount that's provided. In line 14, you enter your 2018 property taxes due and paid. And then line 15 is the subtraction of line 14 from 13. So the difference is the reimbursement amount. And for most people, the 2019 taxes are going to be more than 2018. If that's not the case, then you're not going to be eligible for a reimbursement. And you'll have to apply again in the future year to requalify. So but for most people, after you're going to set your base year as 2018 if this is the first time you're filing. And as time goes on, having lived in New Jersey again as a resident and a homeowner for many years, we all know that our property taxes have gone up for sometimes double, or over time, this reimbursement can become actually a pretty large number for many homeowners and for seniors. And this is one of the programs that really works in New Jersey, and it's a great program. So you have to approve your property taxes by submitting copies of the tax bills. And you can have to approve payment. You can do that by you can submit proof of the tax bills by submitting the tax bills themselves, copies. And you also have to approve payment. Payment can be by a copy of the 1098 from, say, Amboy Bank, which is holding your mortgage, or whoever is, if the mortgage company is paying your taxes directly, or maybe you paid them yourself by going down to town hall. And so you'd have to have a receipt for your taxes paid. That's one way you can prove the amount and the property taxes paid. When you do all that, you then sign the form at the bottom there, your signature, the date, and you'll note that on the right-hand side there, it has information about the due date, November 2nd, 2020, and it also has some, where you would mail it to, New Jersey Division of Taxation. The packet comes with an envelope that you can use, and then there's also the senior tax freeze hotline there, the 1-800 number. 1-800-882-6597, which is a very good number that we actually use ourselves. No matter how many, even though I said Annalie and I have been doing this for 10 years or so, and invariably every year we get some questions that we think we know the answer to, so we don't want to confirm it, or maybe we just don't really know the answer at all. So we find ourselves calling this hotline number to get information. And our experience is that it's a number that is answered and
helpful.
And it's helpful if you can call directly if you have any questions, and you can call us also. So we're going to move on. There is an optional way, which actually most people do, to prove the amount of property taxes that were due and paid, and that is completing Form PTR 1A. So PTR 1A is a form that you can use if you don't have copies of your 2018 tax bill, or if you don't want to submit that documentation. This is a really easy way to do it. You fill out the top part of the form, which has the same information from page 4, answer the same questions, and then you take part 2 to your local tax collector, whether it's Old Bridge or Saraville or wherever you live. You take it to your tax collector, and they will complete this part for 2018 and 19. They'll enter the amount of taxes you paid. They'll submit that you paid them on time. They will sign it, and they will stamp it with their own seal. And in our experience, we found that through all our branches that do this, helping out our customers, the tax collectors are very willing and anxious to help you complete this form. They'll be accommodating, whether if you have special needs, and they want you to get this senior tax freeze rebate. So they're going to do everything they can to help you complete and fill out the form. So the PTR 1A is the form that you use to prove the amount of property taxes you paid and the amount that you paid them on time. So that's a form you can use. So I've gone over the application, and then I think Annalee's now going to go over some how you would actually verify it. Maybe repeat some of the things I just said, but better do it twice.
Okay, so verification of your taxes paid. You want to enclose copies of, for homeowners, your 2018, 2019 property tax bills and proof of payment, or Form PTR 1A. I can tell you, with dealing with the state of New Jersey, they appreciate the PTR 1A because that form is verified by your township. They sign it, they stamp it, and they don't have to do any calculations or adding up of your receipts or your tax bills. So if you can do the PTR 1A, I'm sure the state of New Jersey would appreciate that. For mobile homeowners, for 2018 and 2019, you have to prove your site fees due and paid, and you would use Form PTR 1B. So the next steps, once your application is complete, you have verifications of your taxes paid. We want to go over what the next steps are. So your initial application, you're going to mail to the state of New Jersey. It needs to be postmarked by November 2nd of 2020. Going forward, you're going to do a PTR 2. So that form gets mailed to you every year going forward. It'll be pre-filled with your personal information and the base tax year that you've already established. So if you got an application in 2020 and you filed for 2018 and 2019, 2018 becomes your base tax year. And now going forward, that will remain your base tax year as long as you're eligible every year going forward. So it would be nice in 2025, your base tax year is 2018, and even though you had to keep paying your taxes, once a year you'll file to the state of New Jersey for a reimbursement. And that's as long as the state budget approves the funds for the program. But for the past 20 years, the program's been in place and it's been funded. Occasionally, they'll have a lower reimbursement amount. So in the past, if the qualifier was, say, $90,000 to apply, the state decides at the end of the year how much money they have available, and they may say, okay, you're going to get a refund at $70,000 or less. But for the past 2 years, that hasn't happened. So whatever the dollar amount was for qualifying, they fully funded the program, so the reimbursements were based on that dollar amount. For eligibility requirements, you want to include the income limits. Benefits available for this program are always subject to change by the state budget. Okay, so we want to make sure when you're done with your application, when you're ready to mail everything, you're going to put your completed application in there. And we do suggest that you have another person review it before you put it in the envelope, because there's occasions where, questions are missed or answered incorrectly, just from our experience. So it's good to have a second set of eyes. They want to make sure that when you do the application, you use blue or black ink, no staples, paper clips, or tape. So that's why you have to make sure on each document you have your social and your name on each form, because they're going to scan it. You want to provide proof of your age, which in most cases is a driver's license, but you can provide a copy of a birth certificate. And if you're collecting Social Security disability, include your Social Security awards letter. And then you want to provide your proof of payment. So that would be your PTR 1A form, if it's a mobile home owner, PTR 1B form, or copies of your tax bills and your receipts.
Okay,
so we're
so
gonna do the Q&A, right?
right. So on your screen, I think you see some helpful resources listed. Amboy Bank's telephone number, 732-591-8700, and then the extension for Anna Lee. You can also call your local branch. Amboy has 25 branches, and you can call up your local branch and make an appointment, and someone there will help you with, if you want to bring in your documents, they'll help you fill out the form PTR 1. That's an option. And you can also visit the website or call the New Jersey Tax Hotline. I gave you that number before. It's right on the tax return, 1-800-662-6597. So we have some questions from the audience here that have been typed in, and I think we'll start by Anna Lee and I have. We have also some questions that have been some commonly asked questions that we're going to go through, as well as we've had some questions over the last few days typed in. So we have a number of questions, and hopefully we'll ask and answer something that will help you out. So Anna Lee, let's.
Okay, so we're going to go over the frequently asked questions. So Tom, what is the senior freeze property tax reimbursement? Does it actually freeze my taxes?
Well, Anna Lee, the property tax freeze program doesn't actually freeze your taxes, but it will reimburse you for any property tax increases once you're in the program. So once you are eligible and you establish that base year, essentially it freezes your taxes for that base year. At any future increase, you pay it each year. You pay your taxes on time, you fill out this form, and then you get a reimbursement. That's how it works. And Lee, will I automatically get an application mailed to me if I'm eligible?
Okay, so the state of New Jersey tries to mail applications to people that become eligible for the program, but they don't always have everybody's information. So if you don't get an application or you want to acquire an application, you can call the state of New Jersey hotline, which is 1-800-882-6597, and they'll mail you an application. And you can only do this for the PTR 1 application when you initially apply. Going forward, you would get a PTR 2. So if you're in the program and you do not get a PTR 2 in the mail, which normally comes in February, you can't get it off the website. You need to contact the state of New Jersey, and they'll mail you out a duplicate PTR 2. And that's because your personal information and your base year is included in that application. Okay, Tom, so what's the difference between a PTR 1 and a PTR 2?
Okay, good question, Anna Lee. A PTR 1 is the form we just went over, and a PTR 1 is the form you use to establish your eligibility for the program for the first time. You establish a base year, and you establish that you've met the requirements for 2 years, and you fill out the PTR 1 form just once. After you are in the program, the second year, you'll get a PTR 2 mailed to you, as Anna Lee stated, and the PTR 2 will have your name and address pre-printed already on it. It'll also have your base taxes already pre-printed on page 4. So in future years, once you qualify the first time with a PTR 1, in future years, you'll file a PTR 2. Annalee, can I file my PTR application online?
You cannot file your application online. For this program, the applications are a paper application and it needs to be mailed to the state of New Jersey. So it's not the homestead rebate program, which a lot of people get the two programs confused. So the homestead rebate program, the taxes get applied directly, the rebate gets applied directly to your taxes, and the PTR program, you get a check in the mailed to your residence. Okay, Tom, why can't I print my PTR form online?
Well, you can't print it online, Annalee, because the PTR form has some personal information on there just for you. That's why it becomes pre-printed. So the form will be pre-printed by the state of New Jersey, as I said, with your name and address on it. It'll also have the base year taxes on page 4. So you can't print it online. You have to wait for it to be mailed to you. It will be
Okay,
mailed
so
to you.
now you're in.
Okay, I'm asking you. Annalee, do I need to file a PTR application every year after the initial application has been approved?
Okay, yes, you do need to file an application every year because they need to know that you meet the eligibility requirements every year. So again, first year PTR 1, following years PTR 2s. If for some reason you become ineligible for income reasons, you're going to need to reestablish your base tax year once you do become eligible again. So you might do a PTR 1 and then have a PTR 2 for 3 years, and then all of a sudden you got unexpected income, you won the lottery. So now you're ineligible, but the following year you would become eligible. You would start over with a PTR 1 application again. Okay, Tom. My current year property taxes are lower than my base year amount. What's my reimbursement?
I can see you like to answer the questions ahead of time, Annalee, so here we go. So, well, if you're, as I said in the application, when we were going over the 2018 income, I'm sorry, when we were going over page 4, I had said that when you fill out the two years, if your current year taxes are less than last year's taxes, that means your taxes went down. You know, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while it does. If that's the case, then you're not eligible for a reimbursement this year. And as Annalee just said in the answer to the last question, you know, that happens. And then you're going to have to, if you've been filling out the PTR 2 for a few years, and all of a sudden this year your taxes go down, you're not eligible. So next year you're going to have to file PTR 1 again to reestablish the program, reestablish yourself in the program, and it'll use that new lower amount for your base taxes.
Okay.
Next question. Okay, it comes from me. Annalee, can I request a direct deposit of my reimbursement?
Presently, you cannot. So again, the reimbursement comes in the form of a check that'll be mailed to your residence. So right now, they don't have direct deposit for this program.
Okay, and now we have some questions that were sent to us for the last couple of days, and we're going to get to your questions in just a minute. That just came in this morning. So a recent person just sent in a question that said, I filled out forms for the past 2 years, sent them in, and even this year's form, I sent it in, and I never received my credit. What should I do?
Okay, so for this client, they can go to the state website and they have an option where you can click check the status of my senior freeze. And it gives you the option of checking on 2017, 2018, or 2019. So you just click what year you want to inquire on. Then you enter your social security number and your zip code, and it'll tell you the status of your reimbursement for that period. So this person believed that they didn't get a reimbursement, but when we actually went on to the state website and inquired, we found out that a reimbursement had been sent to their residence. So It is helpful, to use that, or you can also call the 800 number for the state of New Jersey, and they can tell you what happened.
I think the next question.
Okay. So the next question is, okay, can married couples who jointly own their home and file joint income tax returns separate their respective incomes to meet the income limitations?
No. The answer is no. If you file jointly for New Jersey, you must use both incomes on this form. It's a good try, but no. Answer is no.
Okay. And this question is also for you. So what line on Form 1040 is used to determine income eligibility?
Okay, that's a good question because I like that question because I think a lot of people would like to just go to one line on Form 1040 and determine whether or not they're eligible for the program. And as I said to you when I was going over the income for both 2018 and 2019, the New Jersey taxes New Jersey wants you to include all income from whatever source is derived. A lot of income that is not taxable for federal purposes or taxable for New Jersey purposes is included in New Jersey's calculation. So I would say this as a starting point, you could take the gross income that you received on your 1040, and if that number is not even close to the $89,000 or $91,000 limitations, then you should, really not go forward. But if it's close, fill out the form, and perhaps you'll qualify. But you really can't use any number on your 1040, any line item specifically, or any line item on your New Jersey tax return. You really have to go through and answer the questions for each line item, include income from whatever sources, inheritances. So even if you have low income, some people get kicked. Some people don't meet the eligibility requirements because they have other sources of income, or maybe some tax exempt income. That's the answer to that question. Annalie, I think the next question is for you. And that question is, I'm going to make an appointment with one of the branch managers to help me fill out the form. What do I need to bring with me?
Okay, so to start, you would bring your 2 years tax returns if you're doing the PTR 1A. So you need 2018's and 2019's tax returns, both federal and New Jersey. And then when someone sits down with you, they'll go over the other income items that you would need to account for. In the application also, there is a small list of income that you can exclude. And all this information is available on the website for the state of New Jersey. If you click on the application, the complete application, it's a complete packet of 32 pages. That'll tell you, all the questions, all the answers, and what you can and can't include. But if you're going to make an appointment, you need to at least bring your 2 years tax returns, federal and New Jersey, and bring a copy of your ID for proof of age, so they can make a copy of that for you to include in your application.
Okay. So we have some questions. I'm not so sure everybody can see them, but if that's not the case, so everybody can see the questions that have been chatted in. We'll read the question for you. The first question is, I may have missed where you get the booklet. You want to take that one?
Okay, so again, the application and the booklet is available on the state website, or we can provide you with an application. One thing you should know is that this application becomes available every year in February. So if you're initially applying, like now, for 2018 and 2019, and you mail that application in, at the end of February, you're going to get another application in the mail, which is going to be your PTR2, and you'll need to file that one as well, for this year. So the applications, you may be able to pick them up at other places also, but I'm not sure if you can get them like at the post office or where the other options are. But currently you can get them on our website, or we can provide one to you.
Okay. Annalie, why don't you take this one? Do both spouses have to be age 65 or older?
They do not. So it just has to be one homeowner has to meet the age requirement, and 65 years or older is determined by the first year you became eligible. So if we're talking about 2018, you had to be 65 years or older as of 2018. So presently you would be 67. And it would be the same way with the disability. If one person's collecting Social Security disability, that's only getting you past the age requirement, not the other residential or income requirements.
I'll take the next one.
All right. I pay my taxes online. Can I use a printout to prove what my yearly taxes are and that I paid it?
Okay, so I assume you're saying that you paid your real estate taxes online, and if you have a printout, this is an example of a question that, I can't say we've had this question before. Can you use a printout to prove your yearly taxes? I would say yes, if it's a printout from the town that is there. It's not going to be as good as if you have a copy of your tax bill. So even though you paid your taxes online, you still received a tax bill in the mail. So that would be a better source of what your taxes were. And then I paid it. I don't think it would be proof of payment, because payment would be a canceled check or a receipt that you paid it. So that really wouldn't be a good proof. In your situation, if you can, I think it would be best you just fill out the PTR1A. Go to your local tax collector and have them fill it out for you. But I think it's going to be tough to prove it with what you do online. Again, this is a question that really, we would call the 800 number to get an answer to this question. It's a good example of something that, we think we know the answer, but we're not sure. So call New Jersey up and see what they say. Next question is, the tax collector's office is not open to sign the form.
Well, we in this instance where actually the tax offices are open and they may have their doors locked. It depends on the town. So each town is taking care of this in a different manner. We would advise you to call your tax office. If it's a PTR1 form, some tax offices have access to the state website and are printing out that form, completing it for you, and putting it right in the mail. Other tax offices are asking you to come down and drop it off, and they'll mail it back to you. So it all depends on your town. You really need to call your tax office. They fill these out on a regular basis, and I'm sure they have a protocol that they're using to complete the forms.
Yeah, I would just add to that New Jersey has 565 plus municipalities, and most towns do not have full-time tax collectors. So all those tax offices are never open full-time 9 to 5 for the most part. There are exceptions to some of the larger towns. So you should expect that you're going to have to call up first and find out when they're open. Let's see, the tax collector was open in Old Bridge on Tuesday from 10 to 3, it looks like. That's good to know. And thank you from one participant. Thank you. Do both husband and wife have to submit copies of their driver's license?
Yes, if they're doing a PTR 1A form and there's joint applicants, we would suggest that you provide a copy of both driver's licenses.
I heard Governor Phil Murphy was getting rid of the senior tax freeze program. Actually, just the opposite. He's not getting rid of it. He would like to, I understand, fully fund it. And it was from the website. Why don't you take this, Emily?
Right. Okay. So the website says that the program was fully funded this year, and checks are actually going in the mail beginning October 15th. So they don't all go out at the same time. A lot of times it has to do with when your application was received. But their automated system and the state website says that checks will begin October 15th.
Next question is, was 2018 the first year of this program? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
Annalie and I have been doing the seminar for probably 10 years. But as she said earlier, the program's been in effect for probably about 20 years. I don't know which governor can take credit for it.
Right.
But,
maybe this is a good time to talk about the back filing.
Okay.
If you're a person that was unaware of the program and now you're 70 years old and the program you could have applied when you were 65 years old. You can actually back file, and the applications are available on the state website. And in back filing, you would still need to meet all the eligibility requirements for each year. But you wouldn't get a reimbursement for those years. You would just be establishing a lower base tax year. So you can actually file back 5 years, 7 years, whatever, and the applications are available. And what you need to do is fill out each application, mail them in. They're going to deny you, but then you have to either call them or send them a letter requesting that this reestablish your base tax year, and they will approve the base tax year.
So last question that we have up on the screen is my taxes paid is included in my mortgage payment. And that's actually very common. Most people, if you owe money, if you have a mortgage, the mortgage company wants to make sure the taxes are paid, so the bank will pay them for you. And as I said, that you can submit that Form 1098 that you receive from your bank at the end of the year that shows the interest and taxes paid, and that is a valid proof of payment of the taxes. So you can use that for proof of payment. So, looks like, Anna Lee, what do you think? Have we answered all the questions? Or?
Well, I don't know if there's any more questions, but both Tom and I are available for questions if you want to give us a call. Our branches are also available to help assist with filling out the applications. So we're here to help you.
Forgot to mention one thing. By the way, this screen, there's a screen here. Just so you know, Anna Lee and I are coronavirus protected. So just in case there's any questions about that. We're social distancing. We're doing the best we can under the situation. But, and so I'm sure you are too. So listen, that's all for today, Anna Lee. And I thank you for attending, joining us. Hopefully it worked out well and you found out some useful information. The program will be taped and put onto the website over the course of the next few days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.